things I brought in were sort of cashmere throws and pillows, anything to create a sort of sense of comfort. The beds were very much a part of that too. Okay, so let's look at the dishes.
Okay. Also, what about, like, how much input did you have into flowers and plants? Because there's some pictures from the Chuck Kennedy pictures where there's some of those frightening, like, big green house plants that are on the floor. They're the size of a small bush and they have white flowers. I don't know what they are. They're terrible. Like, there were some things that I know you would never.
Well, yeah, so I don't even want to go there. I mean, there were the plants. I had some input, and the guy, I think his name was Daryl or something, like plant guy, who's great. But they added, and the florists were, one was worse than the other. There was the one.
Yeah, no, I mean, some of the flowers are frightening in those pictures.
Especially the second florist were really crazy and bad. Let me just see. I'm find the dish section. Okay.
It's near the end. It's after the chairs.
Did you read the Melissa Winter interview? Is it good?
Oh, God. I read it so long ago. Oh, he had to redo it because there were things. I said, Michael, listen to the transcript. Listen to the audio and fix the transcript because there are things that make, that make no sense. And I think I sent it to you, but I'm not sure I read the fixed one. But all the stuff in here, you want to take out this stuff about comparing Camelot and everything, right?
Oh, God, totally.
But did you see, like, he left it in specifically saying he kind of fitted it, but that he felt you were very passionate about it, and it was very important to leave it in, and I don't.
I think what we should do is put in the beginning this part, an entire part about how Washington, has changed, how it used to be more friendly, and like when the Kennedys and stuff were there, like the last real family that had small children, that there are some comparisons that they end there, but that they had established this template essentially of the American psyche of like how children were in the White House, and that they were, that this, like, I think I talk about that and how.
And where do you want that? Wait, where do you want?
I think
at
the beginning, I'm going to talk about
the beginning of this chapter.
Yeah, the beginning of this chapter, because I'm going to talk about how, one term or two terms, and maybe I'll mention the Carters that are one-term president. It's just that, just that you come into the situation with a lot of unknowns, right? And that I think that in the past, because families, I think what I can do is compare the Obamas to the Kennedys, the fact that the Kennedy family lived in Washington, right, when he was senator, and that that they really didn't live in Washington, and that's the norm now, and it's kind of sad because I think part of what would have led, one of the things that made it easier, that kind of bipartisan spirit of when all lawmakers lived, it used to be a much simpler place.
You'd move with your families, and I remember reading in Sister Parish's book, she said that after all the inaugural parties, it wasn't like 2 a.m, the president went back to the White House, Mrs. Kennedy went upstairs because she had the baby not that long before, and President Kennedy put on his coat and started walking out the door and down the drive, and the Secret Service were running after him saying, sir, where are you going? And he was going to Joe Alsop's house. Like, it was sort of like he still thought he lived in Washington. Do you know what I mean? Like, he hadn't adjusted to.
But that's a really good story, because I think what changes is.
You can say you remembered it. Do you know what I mean? I'll get the thing. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
in
the Sister Parish book.
And because I think it is a shock to the system. And I think that because what the White House has become and the thing, it's like it's a shock to the system. And so you do have to kind of build your house like you build a campfire inside that. I mean, you have to build your own thing. And I think what became, if things adapted and the dishes or things you didn't realize aren't there become a big deal. So that's a really good part to talk in the beginning about. Then
the adjustment, like that.
Correct.